Rob Grimes with the IFBTA, and today it's my pleasure to introduce you to Zhang Xu, who is the CEO and founder of Deliverect and also our newest global industry partner. So welcome.
Thanks, Rob. Really great to be part of this.
Yeah. I think we've positioned very well the benefits, how you got into it, why you got into it, the vision that you saw. You are out there a lot, and I'm sort of curious about, what kinds of trends that you're seeing in the restaurant industry, and what kinds of restaurants are and what the industry of restaurants, is their future. What's it going to look like? Because if they're trusting in you, they're also trusting in you to help spot the trends and listening to a lot of people, right? And figuring it out. So what are you seeing as the trends in the industry, that you would share that you think people need to think about?
We just did an inflation survey asking more than 7,000 consumers in the US about, how they see the evolution of, food delivery and takeaway. And to surprise, almost 42% of all people in the US do more than 3 food delivery a week today, right? So why is this important? Because it was higher than during COVID, as well to the pre-inflation, time that we had. So although I think, there's a lot of things happening, the market of delivery and takeout, especially digitalized, is not going down and it's increasing, right? So for a restaurant to be relevant, you need to embrace all these channels. That doesn't mean you don't need to do dine-in. I think dine-in is a very important aspect, but you need to be very much omni-channel and multi-channel. Another survey we saw is that these restaurants are adopting more virtual brands, right? And look, bigger chains and smaller chains are taking these virtual brands to, if you have excessive kitchen capacity, to really finding easy ways to generate extra income. If your fixed cost is already covered, why don't you take these brands and, sell virtually and have more eyeballs to generate top line when your, fixed cost is already covered? So these are the trends that really is popping up and showing that digital is key.
But on the trends in your study, when you took a look at this, so first of all, it's very interesting. I believe you just said that the amount of orders per month have gone up over COVID on average. So maybe COVID taught people that they could order from all kinds of restaurants, but now that they understand that, it becomes a convenience factor, not a mandatory, health factor or whatever it is. So that's number one. I think that's a very interesting trend. That also means that restaurateurs, coupled with what you just mentioned, the dark kitchen concept, or the ability to use excess space on a virtual brand, gives them an opportunity to increase revenue. But you give them the platform to increase that revenue without actually having to invest more money in their technology. Did I sort of get this right?
Exactly, because once you have Deliverect in place, one is you're going to adopt more channel for your own brand, but we even have a virtual brand marketplace, or you can adopt any virtual brand. You click and can launch these brands on the same amount of channels. And why is this interesting? Imagine you're only on the 3 bigger marketplaces in the US, that's Grubhub, DoorDash, and Uber Eats. And suddenly, instead of doing one brand, you're doing 3, 4 brands. Then your revenue stream just went from 3 times to 12 times. Right, and although maybe per brand it's smaller in revenue, but still incremental, it's a lot more.
It's all incremental, because what we're seeing now, the trend is that sales are coming back up if they're not higher than where they were, because you're getting more sales on your existing brand. But now you've added, and as you pointed out, you're utilizing a fixed cost capacity to be able to do it. So I think that is a message that restaurateurs need to have, but also a message that in your vision of the industry and where you're going to go is one that you actually enable them to be able to take advantage of seamlessly. They're able to do it.
And I think it's not only, and what's interesting, it's not only the small medium restaurant that adopting this, because they are quite quick and lenient. I think we see lots bigger master franchisees that are having big chains and buying extra famous brands and putting them in their local restaurant that they have, to be able to incrementally quickly scale that revenue side. So
that actually is an interesting comment. As the market consolidates and people buy, it makes it actually easier to buy, which is sort of an unintended piece on this. So if you have to give a single piece of advice to restaurateurs to position themselves for longer term success, what you're doing, right? But what piece of advice would you actually give the restaurateur to position themselves?
I think to be open-minded and be customer and data-driven, right? The time where, I love restaurants. It's all about passion, about cooking and doing what's, customer-centric. But today you need to be data-driven. So you need to look at systems, future-proofing yourself to allow you do what you do best, is creativity and cooking food, but then making sure that you can get your brand out everywhere. It's becoming a marketing and digital story instead of having just the outfitting of a nice restaurant, right? So that's key. And finally, I think, look, there's a lot of challenges in labor. It's hard to find people. Pricing is going up. See it as, actually opportunity. It allows you now to invest in automation without your team members saying, hey, look, we don't want it. Well, they will embrace it because its workload is hard. And then secondly, even with inflation pricing, it allows you to play very well with your menus and your pricing online. And that's one of the surveys we found is people actually don't care about raising pricing. Higher pricing is not a detractor of ordering on your websites or on any of these marketplaces. Quality is, making sure that food is delivered quickly is, but not price.
And convenience. People pay for convenience. And you're actually offering them convenience on top of maintaining quality, and the flexibility in customer service. You're offering convenience, which people will pay for as well.
Exactly.
And I think you're proving that one out. The one thing that you didn't mention that you also give flexibility on is the ability to expand your operation between your traditional types of outlets and delivery sets. So for instance, partnerships between the travel industry and the food service industry, retail like C-stores, and seamlessly they can go ahead and insert themselves. And because you're a digital platform, that would tell me that if somebody, let's say, is in the C-store business and they've got gasoline and they've got traditional retail point of sale doing retail stuff, right? They actually could put a food service operation in and use your software that's in there and expand into that, which doesn't create a headache for their expansion partner.
We work with a lot of C-store and CPG. A prime example is Unilever with ice cream, right? Ben and Jerry's. So Ben and Jerry's, you can order Ben and Jerry's pretty much around the world in every city, and it's quite astonishing. But in most countries, you will never find a Ben and Jerry's store. So why is that? Well, they put these fridges into, your local restaurant chain, in your Shell gas station, in your local grocery store. So this is another way of actually almost having no operational cost, but to generate revenue, right? And vice versa. Of course, these C-stores are thinking, hey, how can I create easy virtual brand that has that notoriety for, from burgers to hot dogs to chicken wings, and still have that broad way of broadcasting to the, rest of the world. So
okay,
this is game changing.
So what's your favorite flavor of Ben and Jerry's?
Cookie dough, chocolate cookie dough. So I'm Belgian, so I like chocolate. Yeah.
Okay, and since you see all these restaurants and you have all these different restaurant types, as customers, what's your favorite industry segment or favorite type of food?
My favorite type of food is I'm Asian. I like Thai and I like dim sum. And I'm very grateful. I live in New York now, and you have such amazing choice. That's something that I miss when you're in different countries. So, and the fact is, even high end these days, you can get the best quality of food delivered within 30 minutes, and this is really the future.
And it's even easier to do if they're a partner of yours.
Definitely, you can order anywhere, and we can even get it delivered. So.
Well, listen, before we wrap up, we've been seeing each other a lot over the last couple of years, and you did recently join, Deliverect did join the IFBTA. Why did you join the IFBTA?
So one of the things is we see restaurants as partners of us. Yes, they are our customers, but more as partners. And globally, we have joined a lot of organizations because we want to be part of the industry. How we come up with ideas or new companies even is we listen to a restaurant. And look, I'm quite proud. Like, customers of 20 years old are still customers today. And it's not because, they just like me. It's because we provide continuous value. It's not a short-term relationship. It's a long-term relationship. And as a proud member, I think, you guys are a prime example of supporting restaurants in the States. And that's why I want to be a member of.
In the States and globally.
And globally.
I want to really thank you for joining us today, sharing both your story as well as Deliverect's story, and your vision of the future. I think is very important, and it is a two-way street, as you said. The IFBTA is, very thrilled to have Deliverect and you personally, as a member. Not just because you join us as a member, but also you share information, as you just said, with others who can learn and see that vision. And you do bring, personally and as a business, you do bring a unique perspective and a background in it. So I want to thank you for that. And for our audience, I want to again thank Zhang Xu, the CEO and founder of Deliverect, our newest global industry partner, and welcome to the IFBTA.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.